you need to give people a reason to buy from you. You also need to give people a reason to give you their email. It's a precious thing. It's their personal data. The way I've done it is I've set up a landing page where if people type in their contact details, I send them 3 freebies. 3 really beautiful things. One is a glutes class. It's going to get your buds love/hating me. Second is yoga porcupines, the things we've been told all these years that actually is not that good for you. 3, a whole PDF about posture. And I put a lot of time into making it look good and putting all my best ideas in there. Those 3 freebies are there for people, and in exchange, of course, they hand me the privilege of their data.
Welcome to episode 2 of Celest and Danny podcast.
Yay!
Celeste, we're back at it with the second episode of our Business of Yoga podcast series. How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good, Danny. And guys, I'm just so grateful to each and every one of you guys that have, climbed on the journey with us. It says a lot about you guys if you've gone through the first one and you're here for the second one. So I just want to say a big thank you.
Yeah, it's been super great to hear everyone's feedback, and even though we're rerunning these episodes later, people are still super excited about all the content that we have to offer, and we're going to be sharing even more of this content. We talked about it in the last episode, but we're based on everyone's feedback, we're going to be running a program. Celeste, tell me about it.
Yeah, so basically we're going to be doing a 6-week mentorship program where we're all going to be online together, and we're going to have the opportunity to just expand our businesses, but, with strategic steps, along the way.
We will be there to coach you and guide you from really 0 to 60 the entire time.
Yeah, guys, it's going to be really special. We're going to build a little community of people. We can all come together and support each other. And it's really, like Danny said, off the back of so many people writing to us and going, please, can you mentor us? And us realizing, there's a huge need for this in the yoga world.
And everyone, you should sign up sooner than later. You can check out my Instagram. Celeste will have it on hers, and we'll have it on our websites. But space is limited. And should we get into the show?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Here goes episode 2. Celeste, we're back at episode 2 of our Business of Yoga Online.
Yes, we are. How you doing, Danny?
Medium today.
Okay, that's good. It's good to be honest.
Yeah.
I think people need to hear that. It's not always up.
Yeah, every day is a little bit different. I think on Thursday of last week, somewhere mid-afternoon, I finally hit my wall. And I finally was like, oh, you're not okay right now, and that's okay.
Were you tired, or were you just overworked, or what do you mean?
It's just a little bit of everything. I think for me, it's I have finally come to the place where I've come to the realization where I need to grieve my past life. And so that kind of sucks,
Because of the whole new coronavirus change of lifestyle?
Yeah.
I think all of us are grieving that to some degree. And I think it's totally normal to go in ebbs and, what am I trying to say? Peaks and troughs, ebbs and flows.
Ebbs and flows. Yeah. I mean, we go into yoga, for me, I go into it for the people, you know what I mean? And I literally go around, and one of the main workshops that I teach is, it's called Connection Through Contact. And it's, energetic infused. Yeah. Yep. And I can't do the thing that I love to do the most. And so I'm just like, okay, it sucks. And it's going to suck probably for a little while, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's Santosha, there's contentment in good places, and there's also contentment in not so fun places, and you just work with what you got. And so,
totally. And Danny, I think that's a really nice segue into the first part of this podcast, because what we thought would be really helpful for you guys out there is to, first of all, maybe we can discuss a little bit about how coronavirus has changed the landscape of yoga, and possibly how that is going to continue to change moving forward into the future. I think a lot of us aren't really sure what it's going to be like going back to studios, or if it's still lucrative enough for us. And then secondly, we want to talk a little bit about the hardware, software, kind of what tools we use just to make our business functional. I'm really excited, guys.
Same.
So let's just talk about the whole fact that, like you just said, we can't stroll into a studio anymore and teach a class. And on the one side, I feel like that's a really negative thing because we live for people. I mean, it's my
Right.
greatest passion. But then
Right.
on the other side, there has been a few people that have come to me going, do you know, I'm actually doing a lot better from a single Zoom class financially than I would be if I had to travel into town to teach. And actually, I don't have that travel aspect that I have to consider. And so, what do you personally think is going to happen to the yoga landscape moving forwards?
Oh my God. Like I was thinking about that. Like we're not going to be like the notion of like, going back into like a studio and starting to teach like in public classes right away. One is not going to happen. Two, when you do it, it's going to be I'm assuming it's going to be 6 feet apart from everybody. So, like, I mean, I'm going to say this, knock on wood, and I'm very grateful, but my 50-person classes that happen on Monday, Wednesdays, and Sundays are not going to be 50-person classes,
Yes, and we get
So
paid per head. I don't know about you. I get paid
Yeah.
per head as well. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. Exactly. So I wonder if it's going to be some situation where like, well, there's a few things to unpack there. One, I would agree with that. I'm really glad that I don't have to travel as much anymore. Like I've saved so much time not having to go back and forth downtown, forward and back, blah, 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 blah. It's nice to just teach a class and then walk to my kitchen and have a snack versus like, where am I going to run and eat a bar really quick? Or like, leave an office or wherever I'm teaching and like just like shoving a banana down my face before I jump on the train, like that's been really nice. And then I'm done teaching on Zoom and I'm still sitting in an empty room.
Yeah, it's definitely there's a lot of we're processing change, and I think change is always difficult. In terms of business, I feel like the positive side of it, however, is that obviously we've all been in quarantine at the moment, and it has freed up a bit of extra time. And personally, from my perspective, I really wanted to, as best as I could. I know everyone has got their own challenges with families and looking after aged parents and all sorts of different things. So please never compare yourself to anyone else and what they've set for themselves as a
for sure.
But one thing that I've really tried to do with the free time I had is I tried to think strategically about how I could grow my email list, how I could add more value back to the community. It's how Danny and I are right here now, but also how I could move, like almost generate a bit more value in the community without giving away too much. Just just being like free. Obviously, I want to add immense value, but I also am really mindful about the fact that we are running a business. We do need food on our plate. I've got a very, very high outgoings every month in terms of bills and mortgages, and so I feel like there is that little bit of extra time just not having to run around to classes. And I think that a really nice thing for us to share is potentially some of the strategies that we've used to grow our following or our email communication to people.
Yeah, for sure. And the one thing I wanted to just like really emphasize too, and we talked a little bit about this last week, but know that obviously the yoga teachers that are listening to this that are just like really curious about like, what's going on, you don't have to do anything right away. If you're in the place where you're right now, where you're just like processing, which a lot of us are, you don't have to start doing the most tomorrow. You don't have to run on empty. You can be an absolute mess right now. You can be in your feelings. You can be in your emotions. And maybe you just save this conversation for a little bit later and then use it when you're ready to. But first I would emphasize like explore your process, have your process. When you feel ready, then you can start to do X, Y, and Z. That being said, let's talk a little more about like, I guess let's unpack like the email list situation versus the Instagram situation.
Yeah.
So
I personally feel like although Instagram is an amazing tool, we really are very, very privileged to live in a time where we can market ourselves for free and have access to a community. And I know there's a lot of negative social media, and I'm not going to try and pretend it's easy. It's the hardest thing that I ever started. But it is a unique opportunity for us as just ordinary people to find a way of attracting a tribe. Yeah. And I think that's something that a positive slant that always come back to that little positive. Whenever it's getting you down, come back to that. But the downside of Instagram is that we don't own that data. So tomorrow, Instagram might be like, do you know what? We're going to shut down. And you will lose all of the effort that you've put into that platform.
Right.
Yes, Instagram's a good thing to invest some time into, but actually far more valuable will be if you use Instagram to generate an email list.
Yeah. Really anything that you do, even your Zoom classes, the way that you're going to keep that dialogue is to keep some sort of communication, right? So what I like to say is every time I post on Instagram, I get likes. Every time I send an email, I start a conversation. So when I send an email, people are more inclined to be like, oh, what is he up to? What is he offering? What X, Y, and Z? When I post on Instagram, it's like a picture. There is some leads that happen from Instagram for sure. Like I'm not discrediting that at all, but it's definitely more potent, and I can have more of a conversation in email because that person is not just a random looking around on Instagram, da 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 da. There's someone that's already communicated that they want to be a part of you, or they're interested in being a part of you because they've given you their email.
It's very personal.
Super personal. The way I look at email is not just a way to have a conversation also, but it is going to be your direct line of defense. It is going to be it's the one thing that's always going to be able to get whatever it is that you're trying to offer out there.
Yeah.
Now, here's my deal on email. This is the way I personally see it. Every time I send an email, I never ask anyone to buy anything. Ever, 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 ever. There's never a direct call to action. I know we talk a lot. There's a lot of talk on I feel like targeted ads are so real right now, but everything's like click funnels and, calls to action and blah, 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 blah. And I just think I think people are smarter than that.
Yeah.
I think people can actually see that when they're like only 2 days or 24 hours to get this.
I hate all of that stuff.
It's a load of crap.
It does work though. I have to say, I don't do it, but I have to say, people who are using those strategies are generating sales. So of course, if you're okay with that, we're not judging you guys for doing that. Amazing. Sure. If you're generating sales, I bow down to your greatness. But at the same time, if you don't resonate with that, don't do it. Don't do stuff that you don't feel good about.
For me, I'm more inclined to offer stuff in the email to be like, hey, listen, this is what I'm up to. This is why I think it's awesome. This is how I think it could benefit you. If you're interested in it, here you go.
I've been doing something quite similar. In fact, guys, and just so you know, if you are on my email list, how much time goes into each and every email that I type up. I mean,
oh my God.
So long.
Oh my God.
A couple of things that I found really helped me in my business is I only add as much value as I can with every email. I'll never send out, hey, this, buy this from me. I'd never do that. I always I'll share a story, or I'll share biomechanics, or I'll share a mantra or whatever. I put so much time into sharing value. And very softly at the end, I'll say, I'm up to this. If you want to come, it'll be great if you can make it. Right. But literally, the reason I'm sending the emails is because I want people who are in my email list to be like, oh, I can't wait for her next email,
Exactly.
Not because I want them to go, oh, she's selling again. So just be clear on what your intention is behind sending out comms.
I always think, when I think email, I say 70% value, 30% ask or offering. That's like my general rule of thumb with any type of marketing thing, is 70% value, 30%, whether it's a call to action or whether it's a, hey, check this out or whatever. Otherwise, you're just getting sales emails, almost I don't know, when you get from whatever big chain store that's like, oh, 30% off now, 30% off now. And that doesn't, it goes back to the concept of having a dialogue with someone, when I read your emails, I'm like, oh, cool. This is what she's up to. That's exciting because she's excited about X, Y, and Z. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And also something that might help you guys. And I saw one of the comments popped up saying, I'm having trouble generating people coming into my Zoom. So we're going to talk about how to build an email list in a moment. But just before we share all those nuggets, one of the things that I've been trying out, and I'm not saying I've perfected this, is I try and share the value, because I spend a lot of time preparing my classes, a lot, about 8 hours goes into preparing a class, and there'll be a theme, there'll be biomechanics and a pose breakdown and all this content. So what I've done is I look at that class and I'm like, there's so much content here. So then I'll write an email about the peak pose or the theme or the biomechanics, and I'll create an Instagram post and so I'll create a storyline. And so that class becomes the backbone of the content that I'm going to share out that month.
Right.
And so I feel like that shows, why would people come to your Zoom class? Why you need to give them a reason to part with cash and time. They're two very valuable assets to come to your class. Now, if you share all of the preparation that you've gone to in your communication, they'll be like, I really want to do the class where they talk about that, really cool theme. And that's how you generate excitement about getting people, making your stuff sticky. Is why would people come to you? You're not giving them enough reason.
Right. And the other thing about that too is like creator burnout is a thing. You know, first off, content is time, and so content creation is like a whole thing in itself, and you can burn out really quick. So very similar to like what Celeste was saying. If you know, I don't know, I'm just going to make this up. If you know what you're going to be teaching in June, because that's what I would be planning for now, right? Let's say I'm teaching handstand, right? You no longer have to think about, well, what am I going to post today? Or what am I going to post tomorrow? Or what am I going to write about this? Or what am I going to write about that? Because your storyline is already like, here's my theme. How do I break that down?
Mhm.
How do I invite people to go on that journey with me via email? How do I invite people to go on that journey with me via Instagram? How do I invite, so on and so forth. And as you start to create the content for this stuff, right? As you create the post for Instagram, you create something that's super solid. You only make it once. That picture of you showing, I don't know, a wrist breakdown or a video breakdown of something in handstand, you repurpose that for the giveaway at the end of the lecture. Or you hand it out later on as like hey, here's a recap. Or you save it, package it, and then resell it as an online workshop that was already used. That way you're not sitting there going like, I call it the content wheel.
What am I going to do now?
Yeah. Totally. I did that this morning. I was like, shit, I didn't take any pictures this week. And then I was like, wait, I'm still teaching restorative at the end of the month. So I'm just going to share that stuff because that's really what I care about right now. Right. I always look at, for me personally, I think what really helps too is let's talk about just like the theming of it. I always plan out, I try to at least a quarter out. So, right now I'm working at, May, June, and July, which is pretty much almost done. And that way I have one, time and space to do it, but also the story is told really well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. I have to say, the way I've been doing it, and I'm really learning from you right now, listening to the way you do it, because what I do is like, I'll always plan a week ahead for the next week. So I plan my, and you're like, girl, you need to up your game.
Listen, I'm here for it. Yeah, let's break that down too. Like, I want to go into that a little bit more
too.
Like
you have more experience than I do. I'm the kind of, first of all, ideas is a tough thing. So what I've been doing, and I want to hear more about what you're doing in a moment, because I think it's probably going to help people far more than my tips, is this week, I'm already starting to think about next week's theme, sequence, pose, or whatever it is that I want to share in the class. I'm already starting to type up the email for next week that's going to go out. I'm already starting to think about my content for Instagram that's going out next week. So I'm always planning a week ahead. But Danny, take us through your quarter thing. I need this in my life.
Okay, so the concept that if you guys weren't in the conversation last week, I talked about progressions and regressions, and I talk about progressions and regressions in everything in life. The other thing that I talk about is zip files. So these are like my two favorite things that have it honestly has completely changed the way that I do everything in life. But so I think about it in like, let's say, let's just stick with the concept of handstand because that's what we started talking about, right? So if I only focus on handstand for a month, for a week, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But let's get extremely real. What is the most popular yoga out there? Like, what has the most attendance? Ashtanga, and even bigger, he who shall not be named.
Bikram.
Yeah.
You said
know why? Yes, I know. And the reason why is because it's familiar. And the truth is, people like some sort of sense of familiarity, right?
That's true.
So people go in and they get the 26 poses, or I think it's 26 poses, and boom, they call it a day. They like it. They can progress in their bodies. They know what to expect. They have something to look forward to. So I learned this from one of my teachers as well. I used to teach a new sequence every week. Like every single week, I'd be like, okay, I'm doing this, this, and this. And then I learned the concept of the zip file. So if I can take, in even this, you guys, if I can take Celeste's, I don't know, her sequence that she's doing next week on handstand, I could teach that same sequence, the exact same poses in the exact same order, but teach to a different part of handstand. So 1 week going into it, I can talk about the adductors in handstand and teach the class, but the cueing would then change to not learn about abduction or whatever it is, or shoulder, whatever, any muscle activation that you want to choose there. And then the following week, I teach the same exact sequence put together. Yeah, I'd say
You
I
don't have
put
to
the same.
constantly come up with new shit.
Exactly.
Exhausting.
You repurpose what you have there, and people have something to look forward to, and people may
People
feel the
love it.
same.
They do, and they love the progress. They do love
Yeah,
the progress.
and not only that, not only have people like, not only when they go in there, people aren't going into your class being like, I mean, some might be, but people are not going into your class being like, last week she did the same poses,
Like,
because
oh,
you're teaching a completely different lesson, right? This next week you could be
a whole
teaching
different
the
thing.
same exact poses, but to core inside handstand. The third week you could be teaching to shoulder, whatever, with some subtle like changes throughout the sequence or a couple of things woven in, and then boom, for a whole month you've got a program on handstand, you've got this beautiful sequence that you've dialed in. All you have to do is change muscular activations. But wait, there's more. Hey guys, start with me at the start of June, and we're going to progress the entire month. So now I'm more inclined to be like, I want to start with Celeste all month long, because I know at the end of the month, this is what I'm working to. And Celeste is a busy woman. She's got shit going on. She's got a family. She's got whatever. She doesn't have time, 8 hours every single week, to try to rewrite this sequence and rewrite this sequence and rewrite this sequence and da-da-da-da-da. And guess what? Celeste also gets sick, and she also has bad days, and she's also a human being. So she may just wake up one day and be like, I'm not creative.
I don't want to
What do I do? Yep.
So guys, couple of things that I wanted to tease out of what Danny's saying. This is super, super helpful for time poor people. I think that if you're teaching like 10 classes, I think one of my teachers that I'm helping out, she's teaching like 10 classes on Zoom per week. It's a lot. So
It's
now,
aggressive.
first of all, it's super draining to teach online. Second of all, she's trying to also set up her Instagram and her email list. Like, it's a lot of energy. So this is such an amazing strategy for someone like her, because she can repurpose the beautiful work that she's dedicated herself to, to kind of keep that enthusiasm and that spiciness in every class.
Yep.
The challenge that I'm faced with now is I actually have people coming back week on week because they know it's going to be different.
Right.
And I think that I've created this bed for myself, which I now have to lay on.
But could you keep the structure of the sequence and just change what you're teaching?
Yeah.
What if you taught do you think people would know the difference if you've taught the same class and you themed it differently? That's a whole different experience in itself.
I don't think they would. But I know my hardcore followers, they're like, they get excited about the new sequence. They do. And you know what? I probably have a bit more time than a lot of people. I don't have a family. You know, I've got a bit more time. So I know I can still manage this weekly thing that's going on.
For sure.
But guys, I don't know if it's sustainable. And actually, I think Danny's idea is going to keep people with you for the entire month, which I think is very valuable in terms of growing your following. And B, you're going to be able to repurpose your content, which is extremely beautiful and special. And also, you're going to get people excited about how you're going to change it week to week.
So here's and just with that too, you know, like something I'm totally just I wish I should be writing this stuff down. But then, you know, at the start of the month, I don't know, Brandon and Becky, hey, you know, can I get a testimonial from you at the end of the month? You know, and then they send you this really cool, like, just Instagram story. And then you're like, hey, this is what we did last month. This is Brandon. This is how much of a fun time. Like, you know, there's more of a conversation that you get to have.
Okay.
You can share that later. And even in the next newsletter that comes out in July, right? So from June, July, I love this. I'm having so much fun. The next newsletter that comes out in July, like, hey, take a look at what we did last month and what so-and-so had to say. I'm going to send that out, you know, blah, 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 in my newsletter. If you want the recap, if you want the recap for it, drop your email here and I'll send you out the classes, or I'll send you out the notes. Or you just copy and paste all the Instagram posts and say, check out these posts in this sequence. That'll help you get to where you want to go. Boom.
Shall we share with people how to build an email list?
Yeah.
I have some ideas. First of all, guys, I get asked all the time, are you like an ex-marketer person? Like, did you go to uni and study marketing? I never did any marketing ever. I had to learn everything from scratch. But guys, I wasn't afraid to pick up a book in a library and read it cover to cover and implement every single strategy in there. And I think these days people maybe like, they write to me, can you give me tips on how to grow Instagram? Guys, you have to read books. You have to look on YouTube. You have to go and, you know, like content creators like me, we're very, very, very busy. We get hundreds of messages in a day. You're
Yeah.
asking me the biggest question, and now I'm like, where do I even begin? Like,
Yeah.
of course, if you have a mentor, that's another really helpful strategy to tap into. Okay, I went off piece there, but let's talk
It's
about
okay.
email strategy. Emails,
Yeah.
to build emails, to
Yep.
generate leads. It's just like getting people to your Zoom classes.
Mm-hmm.
You need to give people a reason to buy from you. You also need to give people a reason to give you their email. It's a precious thing. It's their personal data.
Yep.
The way I've done it is I've set up a landing page where if people type in their contact details, I send them 3 freebies. 3 really beautiful things. One is a glutes class. It's going to get your buds love/hating me. Second is yoga porcupines, the things we've been told all these years that actually is not that good for you. 3, a whole PDF about posture. And I put a lot of time into making it look good and putting all my best ideas in there. Those 3 freebies are there for people, and in exchange, of course, they hand me the privilege of their data, and I never spam people. Like Danny and I were talking about, it's a value-driven sequence.
Yep. I agree. Let's talk about a little more about the email collection. First off, a great place to start for a lot of people is MailChimp. It is absolutely free. It's super intuitive to use. And they actually have a built-in feature where you can create a landing page with them, so you don't have to go through it. And it's all drag and drop. So if you're new to this, if this is brand new, you don't have to go hire someone out. You don't have to spend a bunch of money on this. Just start with what you got. And in fact, if you're brand new and you're like just getting through it, get a pen and paper. And at the end of your Zoom class, be like, hey, I'm going to, send this out, and then write that shit down and then start there. Just again, the regress version of it. So I always start with one. I love MailChimp. I now use something completely different. I use another email server it's very complicated. It's like, there's like timers and like, it's Infusionsoft. Yeah. It's a maze on the back end. Now you don't have to go there, right? I love it because I love the data on it, but it's also like a full-time job to just run that thing in itself. So MailChimp is, and I wish I got money for this. We should have called MailChimp before this, Celeste. We could have gotten dollars on this.
Give us a code and we'll get some money.
Totally. Yep. MailChimp is a great place to start.
Yeah,
it's super easy. Yeah. Oh, great. Yeah. It's super. So then, it's super friendly to use. Everything is drag and drop. You can set it up really easy.
I mean, I'm super tech dumb, so I wouldn't use the word friendly to use. I'd say I had to Google every single thing. Don't be afraid to go on YouTube and type how to set up landing page.
Yeah.
How to create landing page. Don't be afraid to search, guys. It's hard.
Yeah. YouTube, it's same thing with Celeste, you guys. I dropped out of high school. I didn't even finish school, and I learned everything from scratch, and a lot of it from YouTube as I've just gone along the way. So the other thing too that I would suggest is, if you have a website, make sure that you have an opt-in there. And when you do your opt-in, don't give me any of this crap of just popping up and saying, give me your email. Let me know why I should give you my email. Like, what is it that my email is money, right? It's something that is very, like Celeste was saying, it's very valuable to me. So why do I want to give this to you? And when you send me the first give, because this is part of retaining the email, what's the conversation that you're having with me? What is it that wants me to stay with you? What is it that you're putting in the email that is of value? The first thing I'm not going to do is ask anyone for anything there. It's just going to be, here you go. Here's a give.
Totally. And guys, it's, you don't have to stay signed up to our stuff at all. You can unsubscribe super easily. MailChimp and the servers that we use, you can unsubscribe really easily. But just to do a little bit of market research, go and sign up to our respective email lists just so you can see what we do and you can get your freebies. I'm not asking you to stay signed up at all. I literally just want you to model what we've done. And so, definitely. Also, something I wanted to say was, when we are producing so much free content, and it takes time to make a video for Instagram or to post a picture or whatever, that takes time. Give away lots of value in all of your posts and all of the videos you make. Like, really share something that has made your life better with the world. And then softly at the bottom, if you feel comfortable doing this, just go to find out more, sign up to my email list.
Yeah.
Like now, she gives us so much cool free stuff, and it's so amazing, and she's so interesting and fun. I want her emails. That's the way you get people to get excited about parting with their data and their cash, is by giving, 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 giving.
Yeah, there are certain emails that I look forward to. There are a few different emails that I get that I'm like, oh, I can't wait to unpack this because it's just so good.
Wow.
And now that I think about it, the top two that I always open up and read, they never ask me for anything, not once.
Wow.
And it drives me to their website and it drives me to their offerings and da 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 da. But it's never like a, hey, this is happening, come and buy it right now. It's always like, here's some information. If it works for you, great. I want to kind of dissect this a little bit more because a lot of the things that Celeste and I are saying are marketing, 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 marketing. And that's the thing as well. But here's the deal. When you are, I hate this word, when you're being authentic, I think the word is overused and it's it's overused in the wrong way, but I'm utilizing it in a good place. This I learned from my friend Krista, who's a phenomenal marketer. And she's just really good. But when you're in your dharma, right? When you're doing the thing, your purpose, you don't have to market your dharma. You're just sharing authentically. When you're writing and composing this email, there is no, well, how do I make this so savvy that people will just buy? That conversation doesn't happen when you're just in love with what you're doing. You're literally just sitting there being like, I love this shit and you should too. And this is why. Does that make sense?
Please unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Guys,
and if you don't, get out of here.
Get out. And I'll be honest, to run businesses the way we do is not cheap. So I know that obviously we do sell sometimes. We do tell people to join our Zoom classes and we do tell people that we've got online products. Guys, what you have to remember is to have an email list costs a lot of money because after a certain amount of people, MailChimp starts asking for a lot. Now, that's okay with me. I want to pay MailChimp. They've provided a service. They deserve the money they're going to get. But we do have to still generate an income from this. And so it's easier if people don't like your stuff to ask them to leave. Don't worry if someone unsubscribes. Don't stress about it. Be like, thank goodness I don't have to pay for your email on my list anymore.
And also don't get caught. This is another thing too. Don't get caught up on having 30,000 subscribers. Don't get caught up on having 100,000 followers. Don't get caught up on any of that crap. That's just crap. I would rather have 100 emails of people that are really connected and really want to go on a journey with me versus 100,000 emails of just noise. I would rather have 100 followers on Instagram that are active, that connect with me, that are having conversation, that are there, than having a vanity of having, X hundreds of thousands, whatever. And I'm not knocking people, don't get me wrong, you guys. I'm not knocking people that have big followings. I'm not whatever. I'm only speaking from what works for me. Yeah. And I'm only speaking for what I've seen. What I think about the longevity of teachers and whatnot, I look at some of the people that have been doing this the longest. I look at some of I'll just keep it at that. I look at some of the people that have been doing this the longest for years, who've written the books on this stuff. They don't have these massive followings. They don't have this, crazy, Instagram this and this and that. And yet they are anytime I go and teach at a festival or, whatever, they are the most attended classes. They are the most engaged people. Why? Because they are living their dharma. They are sharing their dharma. And when people can see that, you can feel that. You can feel when someone's when Celeste tells me about internal rotation, I'm like, yes, I want to know everything about it. So, tell me all about it, right? I connect with that because I know that Celeste is excited about that. I know that that is her passion, and that makes me want to connect with her that much more. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Right? Versus
something
I'm just going to gather. That goes into scarcity mindset.
Those numbers that you care about don't care about you. And I always think about that when I'm getting in my ego head and I'm like, about this and that. I posted a post and it didn't do well. And then I'm like, those numbers don't care about you, girl. Those people that, and listen, this is the other thing I wanted to say. Don't care about how many followers you have on Instagram. Care about how many people are engaging with your content. If there's people commenting, I never look at anyone's likes. I don't care about how many likes people get on their photos. And I don't care how many followers you have. I don't care about that. I look at how many comments people are getting under their posts. That tells me there's value. And that's and every time you don't get people, it's very rare you get people commenting on a meaningless, empty, oh, look at me, I'm so pretty in a back bend. And then love, practice and all is coming.
Yeah.
It's just not enough for people No one's going to be commenting on that.
So you saw my last post. Yeah, it's so true. I mean, we've kind of like, pinballed a few times going back and forth, right? We're talking about collecting the emails and we're talking about building that. But it's also important to know that with whatever you're doing, whether you're collecting emails or sending out stuff, let it be you. And if your thing is teaching yoga to people in chairs, okay, I love this training that I did with this teacher. It was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful training, 50 people. This one student in there, John, oh my God, this guy was amazing. He was phenomenal, super smart, probably smarter than the teacher in the room, like just knew his stuff, practiced with grace, like everything about him. I was like, wow, you are a powerful human being. Why are you not on Yoga Glow and why are you not doing this? His passion is to teach people in chairs. His passion in life is to teach people in wheelchairs and to teach people that, make yoga adaptable. That's what lights him up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sure, he could try to pretend to do all the other things, but that's not going to be fulfilling. That's not going to keep him floating. That's not going to keep his soul full. That's not going to help him fulfill his dharma. And at the end of the day, yogis, you all are yoga teachers. Part of doing your yoga teaching is living out your dharma. Totally. Anytime you do any of these things, anytime you collect an email, anytime you make a post, does it connect to your why? Are you doing the thing just because this is what I was talking about? If you're not ready to teach live right now, you guys, if you're not ready to go on Zoom, if you're not ready to collect emails, don't do it. Don't do it just because the noise of the world is asking you to do it. You're not going to fall behind. It's going to be all good. Do it when you're ready and make sure that it resonates with you. Because when you go in and you do it when you're ready and it resonates with you, those emails that you send out are going to be that much more powerful. The emails that you collect, right? They're going to have that much more meaning. Otherwise, you're just filtering in a bunch of noise and you're literally throwing a bunch of wet spaghetti and being like, well, I hope it works.
I'm going to smell that a mile away though. People are super smart. People are going to spot this. They're going to see right through you. Like you can't fool people. People are so smart. Yep. People are so used to being bombarded with information. If there's someone who's not truly authentic and like, I just share this from my heart because I have to, right. See that, guys. So right. Yeah, Danny's right. You have to do it when you feel that it's going to be like a good feeling in your heart, or when you. I have no choice. Like for me, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I can't wait to talk about this stuff. Like it gives me a chill to think about it. And so for me not to do it, actually makes me physically feel a bit unwell. So I just keep going. I keep making new stuff because I love it so, so much.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely just completely echoing what Celeste says. When she posts something about biomechanics or whatever, I'm in. Just like, and the same, I hope when I post I'm very big about, you guys all know this, I'm very big about being vulnerable and sharing your story. And that's a big part of the podcast is, having people share how yoga has changed and help them, through whatever. And I also teach a little bit of the other stuff, but really I really try to give people a voice as much as possible. I hope that resonates with some people. And I also hope that it doesn't resonate with some people because we can't please everybody and we shouldn't. If we're pleasing everybody, you are out for a burnout quick.
Yeah, definitely. I think my dad has this phrase that he always throws out and it is kind of annoying, but it has actually got a lot of wisdom. And the phrase is slow is fast and fast is slow.
It's slow. Boom. Oh, Celeste and Danny out.
And then Danny,
also give us your emails.
Guys, do you think it would be helpful if we shared a little bit about some of the hardware, software? Danny mentioned MailChimp. What's so cool about it is you can set up a landing page there. You can tell people why they should sign up and you can link your email list to it. So as they sign up, they get an automatic email. You don't have to do this manually. They automatically get an email with all the freebies, day 1, day 2, day 3. And then you've got your email list that's growing on MailChimp, ready to send out campaigns whenever you feel it's going to be a good feeling. Yep. The other thing that I think is quite useful for people is building up a Squarespace website. It's not very expensive and it makes it very easy to do it yourself. So you can just get some pretty pictures and upload it into the templates. And I personally think it's one of the best ways to set up a website.
Yeah, and the cool thing is Squarespace integrates really well with MailChimp. They like are best friends. So you just boom and you're set and ready to go.
Easy.
You don't have to do like any patch jobs in the back end of it. It literally, you're just like connect, and they talk to each other, which is great.
Amazing. Okay. And by the way, Danny's probably got more of a technical brain than I do. I have to say, everything took me a long, long time. And I sometimes used to be like on the edge of tears, like, I've been doing this for 8 hours and I've still got nothing to show for all this effort. So don't be hard on yourself when that happens. As yoga teachers, we've got other skills that we should be very proud of.
Yeah. There's a couple of questions coming in just that I'm picking up on. There's is Squarespace better than Wix? Is Squarespace better than WordPress? Let's talk about this. Celeste, are you on Squarespace?
I'm on Squarespace, and I have done WordPress in the past. It's difficult because you got to know code, I think, a bit more.
Yeah. So I use WordPress. And if you were to go to my site, everything on my site is custom built. So we've designed everything from start to finish, every element. I personally chose to do that because I felt like I could express myself as a person more on my website because I made it custom to the way I wanted it to.
Yeah.
And I also do love the tech side. I love the design side. Yeah. That's very fun for me. Okay. So I had a really good time with that. Just like, when the app was developed, I was like, ooh, colors, pictures changed. Let's move things around. This is great. I love that. WordPress is really great if you're tech savvy, you want something really robust, and you can customize the crap out of that thing. Squarespace is a great place to start if you're just wanting to drag and drop. Beautiful sites done really well. Their support team is really awesome. Wix, another company like Squarespace, they're not bad. They're great. I've done, a friend of mine, I've helped him set up his website that way. Not one is better than the other. They actually all work really well. It just depends on what you feel like you want to do. Like, where do you want to, how hard is your learning curve, and how intricate do you want to get?
How much time is hard? Are you a mum? Are you teaching 20 classes a week? I mean, I will say, I have been through 1, 2, 3, 4 websites to get to the one I'm on now. So don't be afraid if it's not perfect.
I'm on third. I'm on 3 right now.
I spent all this money on different websites because I'm not a techie person. I actually hired people. And then every time it was done, I'm like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm totally happy with it. And so it took a really long time. And guys, I didn't have money to waste. Like I always had to hustle for every single pound that I've got. But so as my income grew, I always reinvested my profits back into my business. And so I'm on my Squarespace site now, which has been developed by someone with branding. And I have to say, I had to spend a lot of money to get that right. But I'm so, so grateful that, I've worked my way up to the point where that's possible. So don't be afraid to just start. Even if you just have a little landing page going, my name's Danny. I'm the best yoga teacher because of these reasons. Here's your freebie. Enter your email. Here's my timetable. That's perfect.
Yep. That's all you need.
You don't need to go fancy, guys. People, if they connect to you, they will give you their email, and they know where you teach or what time you're teaching on Zoom.
People are there for you. Remember that. People are there for you.
Yeah.
Should we take a couple questions, Celeste, before we round it out?
I just want to share a couple more about tech. So we started off with MailChimp to get your emails, choose a website and get that kind of linked up. Then the other thing was, a lot of people have been asking me how I edit my videos on Instagram. I use my phone to do everything, the filming and the editing. And I like using an editing app, which used to be free, but I think they're starting to charge people now. I think I'm in the free category still, called Splice. Splice, and I love it. I know there's a lot of different apps out there, but I just think it's the best one personally.
I use Splice and InShot.
InShot, okay, cool.
Yeah, InShot is great to I love them both. They both have their different features. But those are the two that I recommend. Yeah. So, and I think InShot, you guys, I think it actually has a free version of it, and then you can pay for the upgraded version too.
Cool. Yeah, wicked. And that's, I think, the only tech stuff I wanted to share with everybody. Is there anything else techie that we need to... Oh, I've got one. Okay, guys, please, if you're teaching Zoom classes, get yourself some kind of wireless headset because the sound quality is so important. All we have is your voice. People are in these echoing rooms and it's like, hi. How? And so if you have a little wireless headset like the ones I'm wearing now, or any brand, then your voice is right by the microphone and people are going to hear you. That's a little detail. Also, don't be afraid to jump on eBay or Amazon and just buy yourself some box lights or a little ring light. They're not very expensive. They're going to light you up. You're going to look so much more visible to people. We haven't got a lot of the screen. We've got voice and we've got a two-dimensional image. So you need to maximize those things with good light and good sound.
Yeah. Agreed. I second that. That's it.
Anything else, mister?
Should we take any more, or should we take some questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. So if you guys want to type in your questions.
I would like to hear your opinion on this, Danny, is advice on setting up a podcast.
Don't do it.
So hard, right? I heard it's freaking hard.
It does take a lot of work. It's actually a lot easier than it used to be these days. Get yourself a mic. Invest in a decent mic that works really well. Think about what content you want to create, and then get a syndication system, which is first, so that we're all aware, podcasts cost a lot of money. They cost a lot of money. And for me, this podcast doesn't generate a single dollar. It's something that I love. It's something that I believe in. And it is a way for me to share my voice, which I connect with more than anything else. Like I feel like I have a really great time on video and I have a really good time in voice. But you want to get a syndication system. I love Acast, ACAST. And they're the ones that like send out the show, but then you have to do sound editing. You have to do edits within the show, intros and things like that. It is a lot of time. I have help for that. I actually have someone on my team that specializes in just the podcast.
Wow. Yeah, guys, it is like everything you see content creators putting out takes hours. So never look at a picture or a video or a podcast and just think, it is hours and it's money. Literally, we're just like this.
One picture is like an hour. Every picture is like an hour.
And all of my Instagram videos, it's about an hour a minute.
Yeah. That was a really interesting question. Not really tech savvy, but Anchor FM. That's another one too. Someone asked about asking for injuries over Zoom. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to triage people.
And I'm a physio, and I won't. I mean, how are you? You can't. People have to take some responsibility.
Even in the room, I'm not there to diagnose you. What I'm there to tell you is listen to your injury. What did your doctor tell you?
Yeah,
great.
Go and get professional help. Guys,
advice on getting past the fear of only having one person in your Zoom class. Ego is powerful. You got to start somewhere. Yeah. I didn't start with, I didn't start with 30,000 followers. I started with 2. And sometimes my Zoom classes, you guys, and I'm a good teacher. Sometimes I just get 20. Sometimes I get 5. Sometimes I get 40. I don't care if there's 1. I don't care if there's 100. I'm going to teach that class like it was the most important thing in my entire life.
Yeah, but also be smart about it and use the data to give you inspiration. Because, for example, some teachers are teaching 10 classes a week on Zoom. Just a good example. Now, I'm like, why would you give people 10 options? Give them 2 options and get both of those classes full. And someone's like, my pregnancy classes are really packed. All my other classes are empty. I'm like, well, put on more pregnancy classes then. Like,
yeah, totally.
It's different if she's like, but I love these other classes. Then teach one and love and use your free time to go on holiday or go for a walk or something. But it's still work, like be smart and strategic about working, because as much as you love it, it's still work. We still need to have time for friends and family and cooking and cleaning and all the other things that life has with it. So
I agree. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, more questions.
How do you limit between free content and paying ones?
Give away your best content, and don't hold on to. Don't be too precious. Share what you know. Share. I guarantee that you are a deep enough person to when you do want to produce a paid for thing, you're going to make it in a way that people will want to part with cash for it. A, you put it all in one place. B, you've added a couple of extra bonus features. C, there's that badass class that you're not going to be able to do a whole hour on Instagram or on YouTube, but this video content is going to give it to you. There's going to be a PDF. I can't share a whole PDF with people on Instagram. Give away your free content, but then make a course that makes it easy for people to get through the content.
I agree. Yeah, same.
What else have we got? At the studio. Sorry, at the studio, teach for most other teachers, get many students, I still don't. You need to analyze yourself. After every class, I ask myself, what did I do well? And I'm honest with myself about what I did well. And I'm honest with myself about what I didn't do well. Like, how can I change my vocal pitch? Can I be more interesting with my themes? Can I put a bit more effort into my sequences? Can I maybe make it a bit more fun and playful so that people can light up and have a bright moment in their day? You know, what is it that's special that you're doing? And then can you keep changing that and enhancing it to grow your own skill level?
And also, have you identified who your students are so that you know how to teach to them?
Defo. I'm just doing a little scroll now.
I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, go with your finger down and then you'll see all the little questions popping up.
Oh my goodness.
There's so many.
Yeah.
Okay, we are struggling also because yoga shouldn't be a business. We spoke about this last week. Go and listen to Danny's podcast. We're not going to get into that now.
What was the question?
He's saying, this annoys me. Sorry. We are struggling because yoga shouldn't be a business. I believe it's something that should be available free and made in passion and unconditionally shared. Sorry, but
okay. I mean, if you want to take it back to the old, like, if you want to look at historic yoga, then if you want to stay me up at your house and pay all my bills and pay for my food, I'm in.
Fine.
Sign me up. Let's do it. I'm down for that.
Guys, listen. First of all, I give away a lot of amazing free stuff, and so I'm always going to be giving. When someone writes to me going, I've had really, really tough time financially, please can I join your class? I give away free codes. I want those people in my class. I'd never turn them away. But it's craft. How much money did you have to spend on your teacher training?
Yeah.
Did someone give that to you for free because it's the joy of yoga?
Yeah. And also the person that wrote this, did they charge you to learn, or you just went for free and they didn't pay rent? Like, come on. Okay. Moving on.
Yeah, we've had enough of that chat. I can see.
How do you choose your themes? Super simple. What do you want to, do you want to, there's so much, I mean, we could talk about theming for sure for days, but what are you feeling? What did you go through last week? What are you reading right now? What body part are you geeking out about? Boom, done.
Yeah, guys, I also go on YouTube and I really research things about neuroscience, things about the universe, interesting quantum physics facts. I watch TED Talks about stories. Next week, I'm going to actually theme my class around the slave. Back in when slavery was still a thing, he mailed himself in a box to the free land, and he was 36 hours. His name is Henry Box Brown. This man's story moved me to tears, and I want to share about that in my class because we all feel a bit caged in right now with coronavirus. Yeah. I'm like, I want to share this man's story because we've got nothing to complain about, compared to what he had to go through to become a free man. And so that's what my theme for next week's going to be. And I got that from watching Britain's Got Talent.
Whoa.
Yeah, someone spoke about his story on there and I went away and researched it and I thought it's so cool. I'm going to talk about that. And this,
I talk a lot about philosophy in class, period. I love it. I'm really geeking out on it right now. So I just go in and I go to town on philosophy and I'll pull out stories from the Ramayana or whatever it is. You can hear a lot of like yoga. I mean, I tell, no, it's pretty yoga nerdy.
I love yoga nerds. Only because I keep learning something new from you guys. It really, like, guys, that's the other thing is, what are you teaching your students? Are you talking from a script that you learned on your teacher training? Or are you actually going away and putting in a little bit of effort to teach people something new, like how to get into a pose that maybe they're afraid of doing, or how to warm up their wrists adequately, or maybe a cool story that you're like, oh, that is so inspiring, or some cool facts. Like, put in a little bit of effort. Like, think of this as a work of art, and put effort into that art. It doesn't just happen out of thin blue air, the stuff we're making.
It's very true. And on that note, find us next week and give us your emails.
What are we talking about next week? I can't remember. Guys, give us some suggestions. I think we have like a couple minutes. What do you guys want to know more of for next week's podcast? It'll be the last one of this trilogy. We're going to be on at the exact same time again on Thursday. We would absolutely love to keep serving you guys in a way that would help you feel like, we got this.
What has been the most challenging part of the journey? Okay, Celeste and I are going to put our heads together and we'll come up with some great stuff. It'll be, again, just how to transition business online and more of the questions that you guys have right now. So
Finding a niche.
oh, this is good. I can talk about that for days.
Okay. Do you call it a niche though?
I call it who's your person.
Okay, who's your person? But we did
Like,
that
who's
last
your
week.
person? Yeah. I'll talk about that for days.
Okay, I like hearing you talk about that. I was like, ooh.
Yes, we are going to save this live, and I'll also post a little link, a swipe up link, probably shortly, and then you can give me your email there. Check out my onboarding sequence to like write down all the things, copy and paste it if you want to. I don't care. Check out my onboarding sequence, and then you'll get another email after the onboarding sequence with recap from all this.
Sorry, I was trying to.
No, all good.
Did I go off screen?
I don't know. I think maybe.
I was trying to take your picture so that I can.
Can I do it too? Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Okay, let's go together. 1, 2, 3, go.
Okay, 1, 2. All right, y'all. Until we see you next week, this is Celeste and Danny saying, peace out.
Peace out, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Your precious time. It means so much to us. We love you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.